Well, welcome back to the Trigun Retrospective. Sorry for the delay everyone, but my life has settled down enough to where it seems I can start returning to regular uploads. Anyways, here it's time to start our own character retrospectives, and for the Trigun series, I'd like to start by looking at the character of Milly Thompson, or Stun Gun Milly. I have chosen this particular character because I think Milly is a great example of a gateway character. She has plenty of screen time and a definite personality, but by the same standards, is supporting enough and subtle enough where she doesn't necessarily distract from any other characters. In fact, Milly as a person and character is very supportive, and this turns out to be her greatest strength, as she not only supports the others, but helps them to learn to support themselves. But first, who is this Stun Gun Milly, and what is her place in the plot? Well, Milly is introduced in episode 1 as the junior partner to Meryl Strife of the Bernadelli Insurance Society. It is in this role that she follows Meryl and Vash around and grows quite close to both of them, sharing in many of their misadventures. While very close to both of these though, she develops an even closer attachment to Wolfwood once he joins the cast. She is the first to accept Vash's identity and pushes Meryl to do so as well. As Meryl's level-headed and constant companion, she is always there for her, even if portrayed as a little dumb. Her character is never obnoxious, nor written in a way to be so. Though initially portrayed as a bit slow and dependent on Meryl for decision-making and guidance, as the series progresses, she actually goes on to start to counsel Meryl, and Meryl becomes dependent on Milly for emotional support and advice. Although Meryl is still making the decisions, by the end of Trigun, it is clear that Milly is the one helping see these through. Even as her budding romance with Nicholas Wolfwood is cut short by his untimely death, she stays on as a key member of the cast and a pillar of emotional support and strength, helping both Vash and Meryl see through their stories to the end. Even in the final episode, as Meryl laments not being able to confess affection for Vash, Milly tells her to keep her head up, as she will be able to do so in a bit. While Milly is never the center of any episode, with one or two possible exceptions, she's always a key supporting member of the cast, and a critical member for both them and the audience. Milly is important to the cast because she serves as an emotional center of the group, a reliably stable rock on which others can rely. She's always there for others and can usually discern a good heart. In fact, while Milly is often seen as the dumb one, she is, throughout the show, shown to have a good degree of emotional intelligence, as noted by Wolfwood, who knows that Milly is one of the only ones that sees right through him, and by the fact that Milly is one of the only ones to accept Vash sight unseen for who he is. She is a very genuine and honest person, and can often discern others who are as well, or at least are trying to be, like Nicholas Wolfwood. On the topic of Wolfwood, the relationship between the two illustrates Milly's desire to support others and help them find peace. It shows us that Milly is someone who genuinely enjoys life and wants to be able to do so, and help others to do so, not out of some moral high ground or self-serving need, but out of an honest and good nature. Milly can tell Wolfwood is a very conflicted, but ultimately good man. She can tell he struggles to walk a fine line between the values of a preacher and the harsh pragmatism needed to get by. As such, she tries to help him find peace and rectify his conflicting moral stances enough to do so. She seems to do this so out of an innocent and genuine affection, all the while fully aware of how their views might conflict and the dangerous circumstances around them. She doesn't necessarily seek to completely change him, but simply to help him find peace and enjoy life, because to her, life is a gift that should be treasured. The people in your life are also gifts that should be treasured. That is not to say she's particularly intellectually intelligent, but that she can generally tell how good people are, and she can identify genuine ones, and strives to help them should they deserve it. She serves as both a good moral compass and a sort of rock for others, especially Meryl. In fact, it is Meryl she helps the most, and their interactions show that Milly is not simply a dumb comic relief character. Their interactions give credence to Milly being emotionally intelligent, and wise in her own sort of way. This is because, while first it may seem like Milly relies on Meryl for instructions and guidance, by the end of the series it is clear that Meryl is relying on Milly for emotional support and advice. Milly takes over as a sort of caretaker for Meryl once Meryl becomes more emotionally vulnerable. She is a sort of therapist or counselor for her, and on multiple occasions prevents her from making very poor decisions. Note how Milly inspires Meryl to write to her family more than, well, not at all. Note how Milly saves Meryl as Vash accidentally destroys Augusta, telling Meryl that she can't see him if she dies. Note how Milly picks up Meryl from the brink of despair and teaches her the importance of moving forward at all times. This moral of keep moving forward is the most important piece of advice that Milly gives to both Meryl and, by extension, the audience. She tells us that yes, life gets difficult. Yes, there are things which are very unpleasant and unfortunate. But these are all things we cannot change. We cannot change the past. So instead, we need to look into the future. We need to keep moving forward. Milly lives by this too, as after Wolfwood's unfortunate death, she doubles down on this and is even more supportive of both Meryl and Vash. She takes her own advice and keeps moving forward regardless of her great personal loss and pain. She's not running from these things or denying the truth, but merely stating she won't let them stop her. She won't let the past stymie her future, and her genuine and honest nature allow her to navigate such crises without losing herself. As a result, she's supportive of herself enough not to stall. Yes, she has great pain, and yes, she's still getting over Wolfwood's death, but she's strong enough to get by. She knows how to support herself, and in turn teaches others to support themselves. While Milly is physically imposing, her greatest strength is actually her emotional strength. Where Meryl is shown to have broken down several times, and needed Milly to help pull her out, Vash runs away from his problems instead of necessarily dealing with them, and Wolfwood lives in a very conflicted state of semi-denial. Milly is the only one that simply deals with the facts on the ground and keeps moving. She bends, but doesn't break like Meryl. She moves forward, but doesn't run away from issues like Vash. She stays true to her ideals and doesn't compromise them to get by, like Wolfwood does. Milly is the only one to look directly upon her troubles and pains, cry it out, pick herself up, and then move forward, regardless of her loss or situation. All of these combine to allow Milly to teach the viewer one last thing, and this one last thing is one of the greatest impacts on the series. It is that the morals of love and peace can be practiced by normal people. She serves as a sort of powerless analog to Vash in this regards, and this is extremely important. It is important because it lends support to Vash's ideals, as it's a lot easier for someone to live by any set of ideals when they are an overpowered anime character like Vash. He can live by his own code because his great abilities allow him to. They allow him to surpass the normal abilities of people and surpass the normal bounds that people would have upon them. However, as a normal person, Milly living by a similar code of ideals means that these codes are attainable by normal people. She shows that normal people can live by the ideals of love and peace, and go on to spread the two simply by living a good life and continuing to move forward.